Next up, we're going to hit some local artists again. If you're a video gamer and you played Arkham City, you've probably seen some of these images before. This is a homegrown New Orleans artist named Brandon Badeaux. And as you can see, his aesthetic is really quite something. So, Brandon, is this your first Comic-Con?
No, I've been to all of the ones that were here in New Orleans, and I used to do San Diego.
Speak up a little bit, we got crowd noise.
I used to do San Diego a while back, but I just haven't really been going to that one very much. It got bigger and bigger and bigger, but usually when I was on a book or when I was working on Star Wars or Superman or something like that, they would ask you to come in and do a signing at X time, so it wasn't too bad. I got to actually wander the con floor as opposed to being chained to the table.
Nice.
You know, so.
That's always a good thing when they let you off the leash for a little bit.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So now you've done work in print and in gaming. What would you say some of your favorite high points are?
I mean, I think the Arkham City game was really one of those things where they asked you to do it. It was the Arkham City game, the Arkham Asylum game was about to come out, and the pre-orders were so good for it that they knew this is we were already going to make the second game, and they were like, hey, you want to work on it? All right, this is right up my alley because I get to take DC's iconic characters and actually put my own spin on them, and that was a real treat. So, and it's such a big audience that you can't help but love doing that.
So what inspired your particular take on the characters? You've got a very sort of, I would say, almost cyberpunk style to some of the stuff.
I really just tried to use their actual backstory and see what I could do with them. Because basically, with Mr. Freeze, there's a lot of story there that was really rich. So you can use that where you have this burden that he bears because he's trying to save his wife. So he's almost like an anti-hero. But that burden you can use in making this giant tank that's cumbersome over his back, and then you put the spindly legs on top of it, and it feels like he's off balance. Originally, he's still frostbitten in the game, but originally even the nose was missing on him. So as he progressed with his crime, and he would become more and more monstrous looking, while his wife, who was suspended in cryogenics, where she stayed in suspended animation, so she stayed the same while he got worse and worse and worse looking.
So kind of an almost Dorian Gray kind of inspiration.
Oh, yeah. So you can really use a lot of that stuff. So, and because he was so technological, I could use some of the work that I did on Star Wars to really give it a more sci-fi kind of aspect to the designs. Something like that, you really are using the story to propel what the character looks like, because if you can use that to your advantage, then you have a bigger advantage in actually being able to let the viewer know what the story is without them ever having to tell the story. So that kind of stuff is really helpful.
So what would you say your biggest barrier as an up-and-coming genre artist in New Orleans has been?
I think it's great to work out of the house, but at the end of the day, it's one of those things where you're not getting this this wealth of other artists to influence you on a regular basis. There's myself and Derek Donovan are pretty much the only guys in the city that are that I know of that are doing the Marvel and DC characters or Star Wars or these kind of projects. So I don't have the same kind of influences that I did in college, where you've got tons and tons of students all over the place, where you've got a giant amount of other ideas that are just flooding you, and you don't even remember where certain things came from. But a particular bolt or screw you might remember, and then you use it later on. It's that kind of thing.
So if someone wanted to find your work online, where would they go?
Facebook would be the easiest way to find me. I have a bunch of my work online there. My webpage is basically just contact information, but my Facebook page is the easiest way to you can see my work.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. I hope you have a wonderfully successful con.
Oh, thank you so much.